Hi and welcome to another episode, and what we've got here is the Super Retro-Cade by Retrobit. This is the third video that I've done now, one doing an unboxing of this particular one and one to show you how to get some extra games on there. Now, a bit of a problem really, the UK/EU version of it doesn't like it when you stick on extra NEOGEO or extra arcade files, which as always I'm not going to show you how to do it in the realms of where to get the files from, but I have shown how to stick them on the SD card. This is what the US version looks like. So if you see these games on the inside, you probably have version 1.1 of the original version of all this, which came out back in 2018, I think it was. At least that's what the put together sticker box I have on the console itself. See, it says version 1.1. and it mentions a load of games and things like that. So that's what that one. But as you can see, I have two different ones. If you bought it for the UK/EU, you end up with this. The front looks exactly the same. You wouldn't know a difference. You open up the front though, the games are different. Just to get you an idea again. See, look. Mighty Final Fight, top left there, Mighty Final Fight, that matches. Kid Nicky, oh, that's different, and so on and so on and so on. A lot of them are different, and it mentions other games are different, and they've sort of cheaped out in a way, really. And we'll describe it like that because you get like the NES version of a game, or the NES, or the NES, depending on how you want to say it around the world. Yeah, they've cheaped out by giving you the same game twice, which is kind of annoying. You pay for 90 plus games, which I think this has got like 104, I think it is. But a lot of them are the same game, just one's arcade, one's a NES. Why would you want to play it on the NES and then play it on the arcade from the same machine? You wouldn't. Not unless there's some really big differences, and there isn't. The truth is, you're going to play the better version of it, so hence you're going to play the arcade version of it if possible. Anyway, on the back of the box though, again, it looks different. See, look, big pictures of where it is on the on the UK/EU version of it. Even says AC adapter not included. For the American version, you do get a power supply unit. It would actually work in the UK if you got an adapter, or it would work in Europe if you got an adapter. To make the pins different, but the power supply unit itself would work. Right, anyway, with that boring bit out of the way, right, the consoles themselves, can you tell them apart? I'm not too sure my camera's going to pick them up. I'm no expert when it comes to lighting and things like that. This one is white and this one is white, but this one is more of a creamier white, slightly off white, I suppose we could say. I'm sure there's people who do painting and decorating who will be screaming at me going, no, it's so and so. Right, point is, this one is slightly off white. And then the big difference underneath is this. All the wonderful European stickers to tell you it's an okay bit of kit. It's a PEGI 12 because of the games that they're stuck on it. And then the manufacturing style stickers, for security aspects for them. That one says 2018. Which month is it? My failing eyesight. 11. So from November 2018, and this one has August of 2020. So this is quite a relatively new console. So yes, this is the US version. This is the UK/EU version, and I'll never forget because it's got the PEGI 12 on the back of it. Now, let's have a look of what this thing actually does. Okay, I'll turn it on. And then I'll make the screen go smaller. There we go, it's booting up. Got the gamepad. So this is the UK/EU version. From now on in, when I say UK, I do mean the EU version as well. It just makes it easier for me to keep saying things. Now, I have an SD card already in the back here, which is my extra games. I have no thumbnails because there's no point at the moment. It makes no difference. But when this is a game that I know works on the US version, without a doubt. It works on there. In my US version, I've still got the SD card with all my fancy games on. Stick that in here, and you end up with this problem. You press select, and it just flashes. It will refuse to load. Just to prove a point, I'll knock out that SD card. These are the games that are actually in there. I realise it has 1942 already there. That's kind of the reason why I'm using that one. Stick the SD card in again. It tells me to have a look at the SD card. It will bring it up eventually. There we go. All the different ones. Got 1942. Try to load it. Doesn't work. And yet all these work perfectly fine on the US version. So we'll take that back out again and put that in the US version so I don't lose it. Go back to the smaller one. Oh, the one with less games on. Now the reason why I've got two versions of 1942 is because that's the version that's on here, and this is a later version. I've forgotten all the different numbers, but if you've built up this one, you'll know that that's an older version, and there's newer versions of the files you can get, and that, I'm pointing at the screen as if you can see, that 1942_2 is the latest version I could possibly find of 1942 if I was going to making a MAME emulation PC or RetroPie or something like that. So press that, and that doesn't work either. It just doesn't work. So all the wonderful people who saw my last episode and have a UK version have been complaining, how on earth do you actually get the games working on here, on the UK version? And the answer is you have to do it a completely different way. It's just not as easy, at least from the research that I've tried to do, and I'm no expert. If it comes out on all the well-known forums on how to do, I'll be following that, and I'll make another episode. But until then, I'll have to show you a different way to get these going, and then we'll have a bit of a talk after that. So first things first, let's pop across to the PC. So turn this off. Okay, so I'll just get this going and I'll explain a few more things. So let's click right for now. So what I've done here is I'll put everything in the description for you that you need this Win32 disk imager, you need a certain file, and there's another site that you might have a bit of a read at as well. Basically what you're doing is sticking a image on an SD card, which I recommend to be about 8 GB. 16 will be fine, but 8 GB will, it will do you, because all you're doing is putting a custom firmware on there. Not designed by me or anything like that. I'm taking no credit. All credit goes to the people that you'll come across in the forum that tell you how to do stuff. But with that though, what you end up with, as I say, is a custom firmware, and then this will allow you on your UK EU version of the console to play your arcade stroke NEOGEO games. It's a bit of a long-winded way of doing things. It's a real shame that Retrobit changed things, but I'm assuming they got told off or something previously. If anything comes to light of like there's an easier way of doing this, I'll be sure to make another episode so we can have a look through and discover together how to do it. But for me, I'm sticking with the USA version of it, even though I'm based in the UK. Because quite frankly, why bother? If you've ordered yours from here in the UK or in Europe, and you've got the UK/European version, if I was you, I'd send it back and get a imported version. If anything, they can be a little bit cheaper to get the imported version, and then you can have just as much fun as I am, and it's a lot easier. There's no acceleration as far as I can tell with the newer version for UK and Europe, so you're not losing out by stepping back, if that makes any sense. As I said, you can have a look back at my unboxing and you'll see which one you're supposed to be getting, but it's a version 1.1 you want to be getting your hands on, not a version 1.0 because from what I understand, that basically gives you the same problems as this UK European version does. So as you can see, this is written on what it was supposed to be doing, so press OK. And then on my other screen, which I'll drag across for you, it has created all of these other things. Now, do not format the rest of them. I know I said it like that, but I just want to be sure that I'm getting my my accent across. You have to press cancel on all of them because you don't want to format them because things have been put there, and then you can click exit. Okay, so I've exited out of that program and I can bring across this folder of the USB stick that I have, which has been already formatted to FAT32. If you're sticking in anything above 32 gigabytes, I believe it is you have to get a special program to format to FAT32 or know some trickery in Windows 10. I'll stick up that in the description as well on an app that allows you to do it, and it's really nice and easy to do. But basically, within the zip file that you received for the custom firmware, there's also a folder there called Games. Now that Games folder you stick onto your USB stick, and then you'll notice from within there, there's lots of other folders for lots of other systems. Now I haven't tested all these different systems, but the FBA 2012 is in fact where you want to stick your NEOGEO and arcade like games and things. But also, though, what you need to do for all of these different folders, which will be explained in the forum post, of which BIOS files you may or may not need to stick in for these different systems so that you can actually use them. For this, though, you need the neogeo.zip, which is roughly 1.645 kilobytes, so 1,645 kilobytes. So that they'll work. You can see I have an old one here because I did come across a file that was really small, and that one does not work, at least not with this system. And then as you can see, I've copied across a game. You do not need the picture file, you just do not need it for this way of system because you just get a long list when you go inside. So there's our game that we're going to be testing, and that's it. So let's take our USB stick across. Now, for people who might be eagerly noticing when I move across to the console again, my USB stick is actually a micro SD card in a USB stick reader type thing. But a USB stick will do the same difference. Anyway, let's go across back to the console. Okay, first things first, we stick the SD card in at the back, turn it on. I'll show you what it looks like now. Got a new banner. As you may have noticed, my USB stick is still outside at the moment. We've not done anything with it because you have to wait. So this banner flashes a couple of times and then you end up with this new front end. I know I'm cutting off a little bit, but you get the idea. The highlight bit is a bit light, but you can tell that you're highlighting something different. Now we want to play around with NEOGEO stroke arcade games. Press select on the more systems, go to next page, and then we end up with the Master System, FB Neo, PlayStation, PC Engine, and then there's also Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, NEOGEO Pocket Color, and Game Boy Advanced SP, and then there's also Android. So we press B to go back, but we press A to select, so we can go to FB Neo, but we don't press select for that just yet, because before we select any of these, what you need to do is now stick in your USB stick with all your wonderful purchased but personally ripped games, and then we select the console stroke arcade machine thing that we want to use. And as you can see, we can actually select different things. Now obviously the BIOS we just ignore, and yes, I've still got the old one there, but we just ignore those, and we want to look at the one arcade game that I've copied across. So we've got 3 count B, which is when it loads up, here we go. See, you can actually have NEOGEO games. The audio does work, I'm just not recording it right now, but everything's fine. It plays the same way as you expect it to play. So let's stick some credits in, which you can't see because of my wonderful little cornery bit here. So I've thrown a load of credits in. I press start, and we can press start again. Oh, I see select again, press A again, and we can select some different character. Let's have this big burly guy. Now the buttons to actually do things may be a little bit different from what you're normally used to if you were using some other console, or you know, if you've used the other Retro-Cade. I'm still learning on what buttons do what in different games anyway, but I've got a feeling they're a little bit different. But the point is, the games work. Okay, so we're back to the full size bit. Now, USA version, UK/European version. If I was someone who wants to play around with extra games, I would send this one back and then get the USA version imported. On Amazon, you can basically get it for the same price. You're talking a few pounds difference, a few euros difference. You get a power supply unit with it. You can use an adapter to make it fit your plug standard in the UK or in Europe. But the power supply unit itself will actually work on the 240 volts at 50 Hertz. It will work, even though it's set for it is a USA one. It's one of those multi-world region things, you know. The other thing is that this one has the NES and arcade version of the games. I know I've already complained about that, but why? Why Retrobit? Why don't you have someone on your team who actually explains to you how people view computer games? Let's go back down again and actually turn this system back on again without the SD card, without the USB stick, because I want to show you what it looks like with its normal firmware. So as you can see, Super Retro-Cade, nothing fancy about that in the realms of, you know, I've not done anything different. This is the way that it comes straight out of the box. Now there's a few things I do want to point out with it when it finally boots up. We end up with Bad Dudes and Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja. Is that two different versions of the game? But the one thing I think is a bit cheap of them is, where is it now? Here we go. Is Magical Drop and Magical Drop Arcade. Why would you play the NES version or whatever version that is, the arcade version? You wouldn't. You're just going to play the arcade. So that's one less game you've got to play around with, and they've wasted space with it. Granted, this particular one has more games on it than the USA version, and it has different ones. But why try to fool people into thinking they're getting lots and lots of games when it's the same game twice? You're going to play the best version of the game, and most often or not, the best version of the game is the arcade version of the game. Anyway, the other thing that I've noticed with this particular console is this one, if you stick in a USB keyboard or a mouse, I'm not too sure about the mouse actually, I haven't stuck the mouse in this one, but the USB keyboard, it's not recognized. Now, why would you stick a USB keyboard in? You don't have to, it's just something I've noticed. If you stick it in this, on the other hand, it picks up the mouse, but you can't move the mouse around. The mouse pointer appears at the top left-hand corner, and you can control this with a USB keyboard. You can use the arrow keys, you can press escape, you can press control escape, you can press 3. What did 3 do? 3 was actually select. You can press space to do select. You can do it all on a keyboard. So they've done something definitely different with the Android operating system that's on these systems. They've updated something on this one. And the one thing that they've done, and this is a complaint, because how on earth did this get past their beta testing. This one does have this function where at the top left of all the games I can press up and it'll jump to the very bottom. Now that's nice, that's a nice feature. I'm not complaining about that. What I'm complaining about is if I press left here and then press right, I'm locked. See? I'm pressing all the buttons and it's not moving. So I have to press X so I can highlight how I'm going to sort it, and I press A to select it, and then I can move around again. I can go up, down, as much as I want. See, that's how the order is. It's sorted by name. I can go press up and down. But if I press left, right, I'm locked again. That is pathetic, Retro-Bit. It is just pathetic. Right, rant over. I hope that has been useful for those that want to be able to do extra games on their little console. But I really do recommend, if you're really into doing that sort of stuff, send this one back and buy that one. If you're still within your European rights of buying something and realizing it's not to your standards, send it back and buy the USA version, because it's a better little box. Because when it is actually being used, I realize the extra games is an extra function that we're not supposed to know about. I understand that. But the mere fact that it locks up when you're moving left and right, I would say that's a good enough reason to send it back in itself. Because that makes it like, well, if you've done that so rubbish, what else is rubbish about it? Whereas this version works. Yes, you can't jump up and down with the menu system, but at least it doesn't crash. Swings and roundabouts, as we all say, but yeah, send that one back, get your money back, buy that one instead. As always, happy gaming.